What's up? It's Matt Plapp. Let's talk about creating a revolution with your Facebook post, your social media marketing. Okay, maybe revolution's a tad extreme, but let's talk about it. This is a client of ours that has had some huge success. And they're a one location mom and pop pizza restaurant, what you would typically consider a casual dining restaurant. Some delivery, but also a lot of people coming in-house, sitting down, picking up food. So what I want to talk about is these comments. So 403 of these comments drove people into a program where we got their information. But more than that, we got them to come into the business. And a lot of that helps us attribute success. It helps us optimize our ads better, because when you look at digital marketing, when you can tell Facebook or Google or YouTube that specific people took an action, you can optimize at a very high level on that. So when you look at this post, I'm going to show you in a second, 125 of those comments spent $4,600. And what I like to ask a lot of people is, do you know what is happening with your social media efforts to that point? And we're going to get a little deeper into that in a second. Let me walk you through what this looks like. So this Facebook post that I'm going to show you reached 17,000 people, of which 7,200 were organic, means they weren't paid for. 10,000 or so were paid for. That post generated 1,268 reactions. That means 1,200 people saw that and were pretty excited. It got 669 comments and 68 shares, and it drove 125 immediate visits for $4,667.50 in sales. It also built an email, text, and birthday list of over 1,000 people. And we know that that one Facebook post will drive over $50,000 in annual sales based on repeat visits. So let's look at the post. I got the privacy blocker on there so you can't see the client and their information. But let's kind of dig into it. 669 comments. Yes, one person apparently was angry. I'm not real sure why. Maybe they don't like delicious looking pizza. But a couple things that made this post a success we're going to get into a little later. But just kind of think about the stats. Think of the engagement. And I always like to say you can't deposit likes. But in reality, I've been lying to myself. You can deposit likes if there's a follow-up sequence after the like that gets people to do what you want them to do. So let's go and walk a couple things about what we do, and then we're going to dig into that ad itself and the results. So number one, the ROI engine marketing strategy is a strategy that I built that I like to get people to really buy into, because I think the problem all of you have is you're traditionally spending your money on that bottom line, that line on the bottom there, that black line. You're spending money to drive sales, which means you're renting audience. You're buying bus billboards, you're buying billboards outside, you're buying direct mail, you're buying radio, TV. Heck, you're buying Facebook, Google, Instagram ads. You're paying them to get exposure to their audience. The problem is you have to keep going back to them every month when you want to reach those people. What I want you to think about, what I want you to do more than think about, what I want you to commit to doing is taking that same ad dollar and effort and using it to build an audience. So spend to build. Use your marketing dollars and efforts to get people to take an action. That action leads to an audience. I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. There's 3 ways to drive business for your restaurant. Number 1, find new customers. Number 2, get repeat visits. And number 3, increase your average check size. When you look at these categories, I've got a slide I'm working on right now that goes deeper into this, talks about new customers, lost customers, and frequent customers. Because new customers are apparent. But how do you drive repeat visits from your frequent customers? And then how do you re-earn the trust of lost customers? And then on top of that, increase average check. Well, new customers are a little harder to increase average check because they don't have the trust in you yet. And lost customers, well, they're lost. You got to get them back. But that frequent customer is a person you can increase the average check with. And at the end of the day, when you can go back to your marketing and know who your current best customers are, you can optimize your campaigns to find new customers. That's why that is underneath there, that when you know who your new people are, you can optimize your marketing to find people just like them more often. Your goal should be in the hands of your customers every week. How do you put your brand in their hand every week? And I don't mean eating a delicious burger like that. I mean, how do you put yourself on their cell phone and email, text, retargeting, messenger? How do you do that? So what we do and we're going to get into the case study here, but I want to walk you through this. This is 3 things that we do to help businesses progress and grow, because you can't get ROI exclusively on the front end. You've got to have a long play. And so when I look at what we do, we have 3 steps. We have 6 tactics we use over 3 steps that help us help businesses, specifically restaurants, grow, thrive, and prosper. Step number 1 is attention. Talked to a restaurant this morning. He's running some of his own Facebook ads. We're running some ads for him. We're both getting attention. But what are you doing with that attention? Are you renting it or are you owning it? We prefer to take that attention, the likes, the comments, the shares, the impressions, the engagements, and drive them into a program that builds a database. Because I don't want to have to pay to reach that person again. I want to use my text, email, and messenger marketing to reach that person. I want to use my advertising dollars to either retarget people lightly or always acquire new people. So step 1 is taking attention to build a database. Step 2 is now we want to know that that database is the right one. How do we ensure that we have the right people seeing our ads and getting into our database? Well, we want to drive some front-end sales. And when we drive that front-end sales, we want to get some customer data. What are their visit frequency, their birthday, their gender, if they live or work near the restaurant. And then the next step after that, this is where the money's made. They always say the fortune is in the follow-up for businesses. And what they mean is that you have to have a way to talk to your customers long-term, because we're building this database in step number 1. But what are we doing with it long-term? And long-term is email and text ads, and then crazy retargeted ads to talk to those people, because there's a lot of opportunity in that world. So first, let's dig into this ad. Let's talk about gaining attention and gaining massive engagements. So when I look at this ad, when I look at this post, as I mentioned, it was about 10,000 paid and 7,000 organic. But we had 17,000 people reach. This is a one location restaurant. We target really specific around their geographic area. And then we optimize our ads based on the data we get as the campaign progresses. See, a lot of marketing isn't optimized. When you boost a Facebook post, you're giving Facebook easy money, and you're not using the data you need to make it successful. But when you are taking that advertising like we do on this reach up top, and you're optimizing it by those 669 comments, but even deeper, as I'm going to show you in a second, when you're optimizing it by the people who walk in and spend money, now your front-end marketing is consistently tweaked to reach the ideal people. That's what social media is about, is how do I get my message, my attention from the right people? And the way you get it from the right people is to get engagement that leads to a database that leads to sales in the restaurant, so that you can constantly tweak your message. But this ad has done great. It's still running. You can see 1,954 people have clicked the links in the post. Now I want to point that out. If you look right below my blocked for privacy, you'll see a see more button. That see more button is triggered when you put typically 2 to 5 lines of text. I've seen it both ways. Let's just say 5 lines. When you put more than 5 lines of text, that see more button is put there. Now, why is that important? That is important because when consumers see 5 lines of text and they see more, well, they want to see more. And so when they click that button, you give Facebook a little more positive attribution, because what happens is now Facebook says, okay, Matt Platt saw this ad and kept scrolling. Christy Platt saw this ad, stopped and looked at it. Doug Smith saw the ad, stopped, looked at it, clicked see more. Let's find less Christy and Matt's, and let's find more Doug's. And so that's where those link clicks are important there. A lot of people don't realize that. I had a client the other day, I gave some advice. I said, hey, you're doing some great posts, but you're putting 1 or 2 lines of text there. There's no see more. Facebook wants as much positive attribution as they can get so they can constantly optimize your ads. So when you look at an ad like this on the front end, it's optimized by the CTA is awesome. The call to action is really powerful. It's a buy one, get one free pizza. That's one of our go-tos with pizza that work really well. Then we have a little magic to work on the back end and give people a choice once they opt in as well. And then we get them to click the see more, we get them to comment, we get them to like and share. When you get all of that attribution, Facebook knows exactly who to show it to. And when you get massive attention and massive engagement, it leads to massive results. Now, this is this client's dashboard. And I want to say that they've been live about, they started back in May. So let's say May, June, July, August, 4 months, 4 to 5 months, somewhere in that neighborhood. You can see on the bottom, they've spent $3,453.24. That is the cost for us to work with them and the ad spend. Ad spend on that, let's say $300 for, so $1,200. So it's probably, let's say $1,500, $1,200 to $1,500 ad spend. The other part is our program cost with everything we do. That did what most marketing does. It gets them impressions, 168,000 impressions. Those 168,000 impressions led to 3,300 post engagements. That post engagements got us a lot of, it's one of the elements of post engagements are shares. But more than anything, if you go to the very top and you look, those post engagements led to a database, 1,547 emails, of which 1,393 of those people gave us their phone number and 1,318 gave us their birthday. Now ask yourself this. If somebody stops on your social media ad, they engage in your social media ad by, let's say, clicking more and commenting. They've just done 3 things. And then they go into Messenger and they opt in via Messenger, which, by the way, there's 1,680 down there that opted in. You can see on the bottom left. Now they give me their email, they give me their cell phone number, they give me their birthday, and they do a double opt-in for text. That's 8 things they just did. Do you think they're not interested? How many customers do you have that raise their hand 8 freaking times when it comes to your marketing? I'm going to guess a lot of you don't have enough. So then the next part of this is trackable sales. Okay, that's a pretty impressive number, 3,500 to 21,000. That's actually one of our more successful campaigns like this that we have. So I don't want to say this is normal. This is way above normal because our goal is not to spend 3,500 to get 21 grand on the front end. That's a great item. Our goal is to spend 3,500 on the front end and get all of the stuff that comes with it. And yes, somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would say, $3,000 to $10,000 in trackable sales would make that a success for me. But what's important is that when I talked about earlier, re-optimizing our campaigns, we're taking those 589 redemptions you see, the people that spent that almost $22,000, and we're going back to Facebook and Instagram. We're going, hey, Facebook and Instagram. You had 168,000 impressions. That's awesome. You had 3,300 people that engaged. That's even better. Now let's go down the funnel more. You had 1,680 that opted in. You had 1,547 that gave us their email, and you had 589 that spent money. Find me the 589 people that look like the frequent customers to the right. Because what we do is we survey customers to find out who they are. Are they new customers, frequent customers, and lost customers? And that right there is something that enables us to understand more about, are we doing stuff right or wrong? This client has a little too many frequent and lost customers. We want more new customers, which will be optimized by the ad campaign based on frequent customers. But we also want to get more of those lost customers out of the lost category. But you can see our ads are reaching a lot of great people. So that, my friends, is how you make a revolution with a Facebook post. Some comments, to some opt-ins, to some redemptions, to some customer data, to some sales. If you're interested in how we do this for restaurants, we would love to have a conversation. You can go to my calendar, restaurantroi.live/Matt, and you can book a consultation. Myself and Doug do most of them. There's no sales pitch really from a standpoint like hardcore. It's like, hey, here's what we do. Here's how it affects restaurants. And if one, you're going to get some value out of that call because you're going to be able to look at it and see some of the stuff we do. And if you don't work with us, you can take that back and hopefully optimize what you're doing. We have a lot of knowledge. We deal with thousands of campaigns like this, more than likely than most that's in the entire United States with regards to this type of marketing. And we help get success. Or, you know what, maybe you just want to have a phone call or a quick text conversation. That's my cell phone number. It's not a fake number. It's legit my cell phone number since around 2002. 859-743-2408. 859-743-2408. We'd love to help you get a bunch more bang for your buck on marketing. We'd love to help you eliminate the hope and pray for your marketing. Let me know how we can help. restaurantroi.live/Matt. Schedule an appointment. I'll see you around.